Hello, hello, hello. A very warm welcome to all our friends, viewers, stakeholders, fans of Africa Rise with Susan West. It is a Tuesday. Yes, it is a Tuesday, and we're broadcasting. We don't usually do weekdays, but whatever happens, and there is a story or a trending or salient issues to discuss, we will come on anytime. There are no rules as to when we should come um, on Africa Rise. So welcome. As you join this broadcast, do the needful, which is create, well, we can't create watch parties these days, but you can share this broadcast, invite your friends and community to join in on the conversation. And of course, send in your questions and comments as you may have them. Today, we have Area Father Charlie Boy in the house. And of course, it's going to be like no other kind of interview, as you can imagine. So yes, if you haven't liked, followed, or subscribed to our channels, please do so. It is Africa Rise TV on YouTube, Africa Rise TV on Facebook, and Africa_Rise.tv on Instagram. Glory, Gratian, and Early Bird, thank you for joining. Yes, yes, yes. And so really quickly, we'll take a commercial break and we will start this conversation in earnest.
Pleasure being on Africa Rise and the fact that you focus on African problems, African issues. And I would urge you to continue. And I hope that more and more people pay attention to the leaders that you bring to speak on Africa Rise, and that this will translate into some change for the better for our continent. Congratulations.
Okay. This is your numero uno, and my name is Charlie Boy, the area father. You're the very one of Africa, and the president of all frustrated Nigerians. Keep it real with Susan West. Yes, these are the channel where they like to watch when I won't get sent. You know?
Africa Rise with Susan West.
Welcome back. Are you excited? I am excited. And so, of course, if you haven't shared, share, and invite everyone, okay? And so I'm going to bring Area Father on screen. Eden Keseta, my Uganda brother, thank you for joining. And Princess Ivy Osawe, all the way from Canada, thank you. Share, and remember to send in your questions and comments as you may have them. Right about now, we just bring Charlie Boy on screen. Greetings, Area Father.
Hello, how are you, Susan?
I'm very well, thank you. You're looking different today.
How different?
Something, I'm not sure, but there's something. You look like normal. You look normal today. You look like regular people. I wanted to see your tattoos. I wanted to see your tattoos and your piercings. Oh, yeah. Who can believe this man is 71 years old? He just turned 71 just a few days ago. Oh, my goodness. So what is your secret? Before you go into telling us about your secret of how you keep young and, Methuselah's kind of life you probably want to live, let's play this beautiful sound by you. Life in no balance at all.
Oh, come on. Afamumbo. Odudu Bariba, one of Africa. The spiritual warrior. Everybody just a sweet talk, but they don't like to conquer. They like to chop, and they don't want to walk. If you like making minimize, or you like to maximize, I like to analyze. If you like make you compromise, so monkey they walk up, I put the chop. Life is no balance at all. All fingers are not equal. Life is no balance at all. Life in no balance. Oh yeah, make we check and balance. As we jolly they dance, many people they for our plans. This life in no balance. We the people sit down for house, they walk on to the yana akpata. Oh no no, some seafood chop. Oh no no, many no seafood chop. Oh no no, someday for the top. Oh no no, many people they for street they talk. Monkey they walk up and put the chop. Life is not balance at all. Na 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 na. All fingers are not equal. Do 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 do. Monkey they walk up and put the chop. Life is not balance at all. Na 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 na. All fingers are not equal. Do 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 do.
Oh yes, I just love that song. There's something about that song. Is it the way you just calm and singing, but telling the unbalanced life story of especially Nigerians. Sinopia Ridley, welcome. And Rahina Bello, greetings. Princess Ivy says, beautiful piece by Area Father. Kudos to you, Zaddy. She calls you Zaddy. So first of all, how do you keep so young? You're 71 years old. Look at the music you've just, popped out. It's as youthful as they come. I cannot stop listening to this song.
Well, there are varieties of a lot of things. First of all, it must be something in the genes, because I've always believed that I come from a very good stock, But then again, 50%, the other 50% of it should be my lifestyle, There are a lot of things that people ascribe to the brand Charly Boy that it just really isn't so. But because of how I put out, that's the brand, and all the things we've managed to evoke in people's head. So they believe that someone like an entertainer like me should, some believe a little wayward, some believe, okay, the lifestyle is a dangerous one, How many people will believe that I'm an introvert, and a very bad one at that, I don't drink alcohol. I'm running away from cigarettes, I do weed though, just every now and again, just to keep me somber, But I think that the most important thing is my mindset. I'm always hanging out with very young people because I like to learn, and I learn a lot from very young people. My friends, my associates, they're all young. Most of them are under 40. So you see, I mean, hanging out with those kind of people, you can never really get age, especially up here. So I guess when you combine all of that, plus the fact that I'm on a very heavy diet, and when I say so, I don't mean diet as per what I eat. Yeah, I'm very picky about that. I eat one solid meal a day. The rest is snacking on veggies or fruits. Um, I watch what I watch, what I look at, what I watch on TV. In fact, I've deleted a lot of people, a lot of groups from my WhatsApp, because I don't want to be looking at gory pictures, people being slaughtered, people dying. No, I don't want to see all that.
Wow.
I want to be inspired by the things that I think that lift me up, that make me add more love to my life, more positivity, because that's what I would like to leave everybody I meet, even a stranger, make them feel good about themselves, make them know that, yeah, you can really find love in this world. Some people think that love no longer exists. I'm not talking about love in a relationship kind of way, but love for your neighbor, show concern for humanity. Yeah. So all of those, you add them together, they keep me going. They keep me useful and
Right.
youthful.
No wonder. No wonder. Look at the Charlie Boy, the brand, the freak. Charlie Boy, the freak as the brand, and this very, you know, regular, almost sounding
Yeah,
like
you're not talking to Charlie Boy. You're not
what?
talking to Charlie Boy. I said you're not talking to Charlie Boy.
Obviously, I'm not talking to Charlie Boy. It's so out there because this person is too normal to be Charlie Boy. We're probably just speaking to area father or
No,
another persona that
Mr. Mr. Puta, Charles Puta.
Oputa. We're talking to Charles Oputa, right? Yeah. So when you're talking, I can imagine how overwhelming it is, with the recent realities of Nigeria, especially our country, Nigeria, where we come from. I know it can be overwhelming. I also went into a place where I didn't want to open any of the videos where the killings and stuff. I just wanted a little more positivity around me, but it still doesn't take away that is the reality right now in Nigeria. The reality is there are people who don't have the options and the options that we have to say we've had it and we're moving to a different country. These people wake up on a daily basis with struggles. There's hunger, there's unemployment, there's insecurity. So Charles Oputa, how are you able to relate to the realities that it is for 99% of Nigerians who live in Nigeria at the moment?
Well, for the past 45 years, I've uh, I've given the brand Charlie Boy for that struggle, you know, and he has gone through a whole lot of stuff, beaten up by the army, the police, name it. Everybody has taken a beating on Charlie Boy, and but he's still marched on. Okay, up until just I think about a year and a half or two ago, I decided it was time to change the strategy because not only did I see him uh, burning out a bit, but and because my own legs can't carry his walker about, I decided to find ways to slow him down. And I know that music has been something he's been passionate about, even though I wouldn't call him a musician per se. I rather prefer to see him as an artist. I now thought of, okay, maybe I could push him back to the music that he loves so much, and then we can try to weaponize the music and use that as a fighting tool instead of putting him in the street like he used to be. So it's unfortunate what is happening in Nigeria. But between me and Charlie Boy, we still believe that the salvation of the country, of that country we call Nigeria, that contraption known as Nigeria, lies in the hands of his exceptional people. And that's part of why I'm in London, not just to come on vacation, not just to, check my health, make sure the nuts and bolts are all in the right places and they're functioning well, but also talk to the people in the diaspora. I remember just before COVID broke out, I did the same thing. I went to New Zealand, I went to Germany, I went to Sweden, I went to Canada, and I went to everywhere I could find a large congregation of Nigerians, because I came to the conclusion that, well, the young people back home, fatigue has gotten to them. There's serious hunger, hopelessness, and what have you. That this survival of the country we know as Nigeria, if it's to ever happen, maybe, just maybe, it may be the people in the diaspora that will have to put it together. So this is part of the reason I'm here. This is a part of the reason, in fact, I've even postponed my going to see how I can keep finding different inroads to the Nigerian community in London, because I've met some people in London and who've been here for years, maybe 5, some 10, and it doesn't look like they've left Nigeria at all. In fact, the people I see in Munshi are even better than them. So I'm like, what's up with that? But yes, these are all the stuff that I'm trying to do, of course, with the brand name Charlie Boy, to see how I can push these messages.
Right. Pamela Rakem, watching from Facebook, says, life no balance. Life no balance, oh, she says. And that brings me to say, it's obvious life no balance, like you just said. You have met people in London since you've been here who are Nigerians, who have left Nigeria for decades, and they don't look like they've left Nigeria. They look like even though I'm laughing, it's not the funny thing. I'm laughing because of the way you said it, but I see the reality. I understand. I can relate to the perspective, or from the angle that you have seen the struggles of Nigerians who are here. So it brings us to talking about the contrasts between life back home and life here, for example, in London, as it applies to all the different countries that we find Africans and Nigerians.
Yeah, life abroad can never be the same life at home. The things that are part of our culture that we grew up in, like we're not in self-isolation. We don't do that. Our culture don't permit that. Our culture is more like a community kind of stuff. Here, everybody's on their own. That's abroad or in London, if you may. And nobody has time really for anybody because everybody's busy trying to survive. Okay? There are just about 5-10% of Nigerians who are really, really doing well, have good job, they are into the system. Gong gong. I'm not talking about people just trying to keep a job, trying to pay their bills, because there are a whole lot of those kind of people. Okay? And how would they ever feel comfortable? Because sometimes in this country, you're reminded that, man, you're not from here. Please go back to wherever you came from. But, I also like to admit one thing, because, like I said, because we are a community-based kind of people. We like to care for each other. That's
Right.
the African way. We like to take care of our parents. We don't go put our parents in a nursing home. No, we don't do that. Okay, it's our responsibility as their child to, look after them. Okay, so I like the fact that I see some people, they're busting their ass, they're trying to do as many jobs as they can handle so they can send some money back home. Now, that is good. That is how we were raised, right? Because without that little money that they send home, a lot of us back home go die. It will be a sad story for a lot of us back home, because a lot of us back home are dependent on that money that comes. And we don't know how our relatives and our children, how they're busting their ass to get that money, So if you look at it in a roundabout way, we leave our home, we come here or wherever, our mind is still back home. we still, if things were normal, we would want to be there rather than be here, because we have a lot of shock absorber. Even when we're broke back home and we're not feeling at our bubbly self, there are a lot of things around to encourage us. We have people, but here you're on your own. Oh. And like I will always tell my people, I said, I never knew the word loneliness till I myself I traveled to America. I didn't know what loneliness was all about. Yes, I've read it in books. I know how it's defined in the dictionary, but I never really felt that word till I traveled abroad. So, what am I trying to say? It behoves the Nigerians, wherever they are in the diaspora, to do something about that country. Otherwise, they'll have no country to go back to. And how would they feel? How would they feel? We're losing our culture because most of the kids are born here. Most of them don't know the language. They can't speak it. They don't know their relatives. They don't know their, and most of us in London, in the diaspora, we don't know when the heck we're going back home. I'm sure a lot of them don't have that even in their agenda. So who is going to fix it now? How are we going to do it?
Absolutely. And because you mentioned that a lot of people in diaspora don't know when they're going back home, that brings me to wanting to ask the states, Nigeria, and the situation of the Igbos, especially with IPOB and Nnamdi Kanu and all the drama that is going on. You can imagine the sort of Nigerian dream we could have if we have the right kind of leadership and the right kind of people to allow the best minds to take on the affairs of Nigeria. But that is not the truth. What is your view on Nigeria as a state and the fate of the Igbos? And do you think that a referendum is the way forward, or that truly the Igbos need to break away and have their own country because they have the potential to actually build a dream that we find in places like Dubai and other developed countries?
That's so. Well, it's just not an Igbo problem. First and foremost, Nigeria was built, a geographical expression or whatever you call it, contraption, that was of the making of the British people. We had no hand in it. And I always say Nigeria is a geographical transaction. To whose benefit? The British, of course. Now, when you build a house on a very wishy-washy kind of foundation, that house cannot stand for too long. Not to talk about you build this house on a very faulty foundation and you're trying to put floors upon floors on the building. I mean, how are you going to do that? Because one day that house is going to fall. That's one scenario. Another scenario is, like, I've been married for 45 years. Do you think because I'm so much in love with my wife? Hell no. People who have longevity in their marriage, it's not because they're living in la la land. It's just because they've decided to tolerate each other's bullshit. Because marriage now, wow. Marriage is just about management. How do you manage challenges? How do you manage issues? How do you manage somebody who is not even on your social level at all? So it's all about management. Now, if all the regions in Nigeria, and that's why I say it's not an Igbo problem, because the West is complaining, the Middle Belt is complaining, there's so many injustices. Of course, you've heard about Sunday Igboho. You know, he's not an Igbo person. So all that agitation is just the symptom that something is deadly wrong. And what is that thing? It's because a certain region has decided to say, we own the land. We were born to rule. The British put that in their head, quite frankly, you know. So they carry on as if the rest of the region are slaves. And this is exactly what is going on. I don't blame Nnamdi Kanu. I can never blame the Sunday Igbo. I will not blame the agitation going on in the Middle Belt, because every step of the way, everywhere you turn around in Nigeria, there's some kind of injustices going on. And that's got to stop. But because we, you, Susan, me, Charles Oputa, a lot of us in Nigeria are guilty of our docility over decades, guilty of our inaction over decades. That is why we have riffraffs and criminals in the position of power, because we are the one who tolerated them. That's how they came to power, starting from the military regime. Okay, we are part of the problem. It can't be just put on the doorstep of the Buharis and the Babangidas. No, we follow for the problem. And one true example is this, I'll give it to you. My teeth better pass your own teeth. Because in Nigeria, you find a situation, this is since after the war, whereby as long as it's my brother, who is my own personal chief, is in power, everything he does is right. As long as Susan is your brother, who is in power, or your friend, or somebody you know, everything he or she does is right. We have not yet agreed that stealing is bad, that there should be consequences. So if my teeth better pass your teeth, or your teeth better pass my teeth, then we haven't started. And that's the situation and position most of us in Nigeria. That's where, as long as we're benefiting from it, it's okay. You know, so there's a lot of work to be done. And sometimes I keep wondering, would I see any kind of change in my lifetime? Or will I die just saying, oh, God knows what will happen to our children. I don't know. I have no answers.
Sad indeed. Sad indeed. Elaye Saramo says, greetings, Africa. Welcome. Stella Hospital says, nice one, my beloved Susan, and happy birthday to Charlie Boy, the area father, aged with grace. Congratulations. Awani says, African Mystery says, area father was on this program. He mentioned that people in the diaspora didn't care about the events back home. Please ask what caused the change in his mindset. That's African Mystery asking that when you were on our program once, you did say that people, Nigerians or Africans in the diaspora, didn't care about back home. What changed your mindset? I don't know.
My mindset has not changed. And that is why I'm still talking the talk. That is why I'm still calling them to order, saying that the last pillar of hope is the people in the diaspora, because my people back home, they're weak, they're hopeless. You know, a hungry man can't do much, can't really do much. And most of us back home are hungry and angry and hopeless.
Yeah.
We're now living in a very toxic environment that don't even encourage growth. So how do you want us to do? You that is in that diaspora, what are you doing apart from that? Is if you're one of the few who are sending money back home to your loved ones, what else are you doing? Because I meet a lot of people in the diaspora saying, I beg, Anything that is going on there, let it go. It's like all the people over there, they are stupid. Meanwhile, they just left 2 years ago, calling us stupid because we're being oppressed, because we're being terrorized, because they're killing us. There's genocide happening in Nigeria. Because you're here and it looks like you're comfortable, you think you be a Yubo person. You should be fucking ashamed of yourself. You come here, you're prancing around, just like I told you earlier on in the interview. I see some people that have left home. They are trying to be British more than the British. Meanwhile, the people I see in Nigeria are even better than them in their mindset. So what has changed? They've only traveled to just come and start to do the same mumu thing that they've been doing in Nigeria.
Right. Because you mentioned that the Nigerian diaspora will be the ones that can salvage or make any change. In your opinion, how? With all the information and knowledge that you have of people who live, especially in London at this point, the ones doing well and the ones struggling to survive. How? Because we want to be for solutions.
Let's start
not
from
just pointing out the problems. How can the diaspora?
Let me give you just one way that I know about. Just one way. If the people in London, the people in Canada, the Nigerians in New York, those in Germany, those in just name wherever in the world it is that you have congregation of Nigeria, and they can take it upon themselves that every week or so put pressure on the country wherever they're domiciled, to that government, to cry about the genocide that is going on in Nigeria. If we all systematically can do that for 1 or 2 months, something got to give. Pressure will be put on that silly, stupid, thieving government back home. They will now start to feel like, oh, well, the world is watching us. They'll be more careful. They'll try, that don't mean they're going to change, but they'll be more careful. And now all we need is for the rulership to remember that there is karma. What goes around comes around. And one day, all this thing that they're fanning, all this hatred, all this evil that they're fanning, maybe it will cut their head off one day. Because you can start a fight, you never know how that fight is going to end. Because what they've started already is ugly. And it will consume them if they don't take time. Because when this roof falls, it will fall on everybody's head, not just the poor. So we can start from there.
Right. Jane Johnson, welcome. Glory Gratian and says salient but sour truth being spoken. Bahi Din Totorum Adam. Hi, Mama Africa. Welcome, guys. There is Tunji. Augusta Anon CK says there are 68 items on the exclusive list in that fraudulent constitution that makes it impossible to move forward. And Augusta Anon CK is one of the people who have put, who is part of Nina's. Have you heard about Nina's?
I'm sorry, no.
Oh, they're really trying to promote what they're doing. And unfortunately, it's, you know, it's our duty to keep talking about it so that more people get to know about. They are working on a document with the United Nations to see how the indigenous people of Nigeria can peacefully separate from the North. So that's not something I'm equipped to educate you on, but I will definitely try and connect Nina's, the people of Nina's with you so that they can talk to you about what they are doing. And right, I'll just take Tunji Big Sam Ofe says, Charlie boy, you remember while you were on my show, I pointed out that a man from Sweden went to Nigeria to start a big farm. Guess what followed? the very people he went to empower killed him. So don't blame those who are skeptical about going back home. That's Tunji Big Sam saying, we know. Just react to that if you want.
I'm not blaming people for wanting to stay away. I'm just saying, let them have it stuck in their mind that if they don't have any country to go back to, it will be so sad. Sad for the yet unborn, because we're losing our culture, we're losing everything, you know. So it's not a question of blaming. I'm more or less crying out and saying, let's do something. Time is checking out. Let's do something. Let's stop talking. That's all I'm saying. Because there's enough blame to go around. Me, myself, I'm guilty. I've said we all are guilty. Okay? And there's this kind of talk that you have, and people say, which one concern me? And they will now go run along and do their own thing. I know that after I finish what I'm doing here, I'm going back to what seems like hell. And nobody's going to drive me away from Nigeria now, no matter how bad it be. Let me die there. Let them bury me there. No problem. Man must die one day now. Abba, we were born to die.
Absolutely. That is the truth. And do you think that we could really keep the wheel moving forward as to how to finally get these bad people or inept people, these people in positions of authority, if we could at least speak in one voice? Because on this hand, you have Ninas trying to work out something to separate, to help the indigenous people come out. On the other hand, you have the Oduduwa people asking for self-determination. And then you have the Biafra, of course, spearheaded by Nnamdi Kanu and IPOB. Yet, we don't seem to agree. I've never seen a house that is able to conquer the enemy on the outside if they don't agree or come together and decide a way forward, speaking in one voice.
Something is shifting because a lot more people are understanding the game. It's the same playbook that was used in 19 that they're using today. Divide and rule. So when I say something is shifting, I now see the Biafrans and the Oduduwas and the middle belters trying to, no matter how weak it is now, because that is what we must do. Like I said, some people are understanding the game now, because this is what they've used to divide us based on religious line, on ethnic lines. And some people are saying enough is enough. So I'm also encouraging that alliance, because if we ever needed it, now is the time. Okay, so I'm a little happy with what, even though it's kind of slow, but change will come when it will come, because this thing that is happening in our country, Nigeria, can't go on for perpetuity. No, it has an expiration date. I'm just hoping, praying, and wishing that it happens in my lifetime.
Right. So Odudubari Bawon of Africa. What's the meaning of Odudubari Bawon? And whilst Odudubari Bawon has been in London, what has he done so far? What are the things he has done? The activities? Has he? Of course, he has met a Nigerian community, but what are the significant things that we need to know about that you have done so far since you've been in London?
Well, I just told you part of it, and that is to go in little communities here and there where, sometimes in nightclubs, you've attended a few, and to always talk about this problem wherever I am. Hey, the funny thing is that whether I'm in Nigeria, I'm in planet Pluto, Nigeria is on my mind.
Yeah.
Because if I say I don't want to talk about Nigeria again, I have people from home who I just can't ignore their calls. They are calling me. They are telling me what's happening. So I can't escape it. You understand? So I keep talking about it because it's the thing that is burning in my heart. What does Odudubariba mean? Well, Odudubariba simply means a spiritual warrior. I believe that I should have been dead long ago. I mean, long ago. But I believe that God has kept me here for a certain purpose. Okay? And I'm living my life on purpose, because I know what I'm here to do and I'm doing it. All I keep asking is God's grace to keep strengthening me because I'm just only human. So, sometimes I'm low in spirit, sometimes I'm depressed, sometimes I'm just frustrated. And sometimes I refuse to get out of my bed because I just have one thing that is bothering me, Nigeria. So Odudubari Ba, the spiritual warrior in me, has helped me to sustain the Charlie Boy brand because for all the cell he went to, all the prisons he went to and everything, and the fact that in the beginning not even his parents believed in him was enough to discourage any mortal, but he kept on fighting. So, and it's the Odudubariba spirit that helps us. But to cut it short, Odudubariba in my language, in the Uguta dialect, means a butterfly. Okay, but the way I explain it up to people is that this is a special butterfly. It's not an ordinary butterfly because this butterfly swallowed an elephant. So you can go figure it out. A butterfly will swallow elephant. It's not a small thing.
It happens in a different realm. We can't compare that.
Yes, because you see, what we're dealing in Nigeria now, I'm serious, no joking, is very demonic. We're dealing with sets of very, very evil people. People from the 18th century. People who don't care a hoot about the preciousness of life. People who believe that might is right. So it's a very, very, very dangerous situation.
Right. Abu Mandale Sase from Mali, welcome. Augusta Anonsike is trying to inform us that Ninas has alliance territories already. The Middle Belt, Southwest, and Lower Niger have created the alliance already. We just need to push the 1999 Constitution down, which is what Ninas is saying. And of course, yes, she goes ahead to say Odudubari Ba. Helen D, welcome. And Charles Oduneye says, Area Father, I greet you with two hands, sir. Dede Chinese goes here. What's Chinese? I think it's an Igbo word that autocorrect must have turned around.
Dede means elder.
Right. So he says, you really nailed it. Many have woken from the slumber and the coma of colonial divide and rule and set their sights on the real issue. And yes, so moving forward, I remember when you talked about, of course, as a human being, most of us can relate to our down days and our very, up days, the days when we wake up and the sky is just gray, even though the sun is out. And And you did mention, of course, that when even your parents didn't believe in you. I met your dad. I interviewed your dad, late Justice Oputa. It was a privilege. I became friends with him. I even went ahead to start calling him my boyfriend every time I went to visit, until he passed. So I got to know your family. I met your mom. I met a lot of your family members.
My daughter.
Yes, even my good friend. We have our little something going on, that nobody else will get to know. It's just me and her. Right. So I know you've come from a very privileged background. In Nigeria, you don't find people come from very privileged background and want to take on a persona that brings persecution on them, as opposed to having different governments come in and favor you because you are born from, the clout of the kind of people that they like to favor. But you chose to take a different path, and your parents didn't support you. You went on until finally, before your dad passed, I know you finally dressed him up looking like Charly Boy beside your bike, your power bike. Tell us how those moments, those periods, how it affected you, how it formed you, and how you managed to bring your parents into your fold.
Well, like they say, nothing succeeds at success, Abby. Success has so many fathers, so many fake friends, and all of that, and all of that. At first, you start to do something, okay, people are skeptical, they don't know whether to follow you or believe in you. But I bet you, if you are consistent, if you're tenacious, if you have confidence and you're focused and you're hardworking, there's no dream that you set your eyes on that 80% of the time you won't succeed. When I was in high school, Holy Ghost College, Owerri, even before I traveled to America, my best friend in that school was the senior prefect. He came first in all the subjects. He was the best boy in school. He was so many things and a bag of potato chips. Okay? So I decided to befriend him because I wasn't too good in math. Okay, in physics, all those science subjects, I wasn't good at all. I was even too playful to be disciplined enough. I didn't like school because my father made me scared of learning. When I was 7 or 8, he used to, make me cram Julius Caesar, the sonnets, and be reading big, big books that I didn't even understand. Or to read it and come and recite for him and cram some things. But yes, you're right. I have a very rich heritage. Okay, I have a pedigree that is very strong because my father gave us an overdose of religiosity, morals, values. In my time, when people like us were born in the early 50s, anytime you're caught outside your immediate environment and you're naughty or you've done something wrong, the first question, even a perfect stranger that you don't know would ask you would be, who is your father? Who is your mother? They didn't ask those questions whether your father or your mother had money. But they're asking that question to know what kind of upbringing that you had. Even teachers who didn't have much of anything, maybe only a white horse bicycle. That's all they had as a valuable property in those days. They were respected just like people respect the hush puppies of this world and the cubanas of this world. That was how they were respected in my time. So I come from that era. Now, because my father was a man of integrity, because lion never fit ever. Lion no fit born goat or monkey. Okay, so that thing he was trying to push it down our throat. And I was living with a father that had an overlooming image. Because after I finished my master's, I came home. I said, take your certificate. I don't finish. I didn't want to go to school, but he made me, he could have died and Nami could come answer person will kill him, Papa. So I just went to school grudgingly. Okay, but I thank God that he insisted. So after I got the certificate, I said, oh yeah, take. Because as usual, he had already planned out my life for me. Okay, take this letter, go somewhere in Port Harcourt, go and give somebody and start work. And I looked at him and I said, no, I don't want to work because I didn't think I had that discipline of a 9 to 5. I wanted to carve my own niche, follow my own rainbow, do whatever it is that I have to do to get my own name because I was suffocating, always being introduced as this person's son, that person's. No. I wanted my own thing. And that was what set me on a war path with my parents. So as soon as they now promoted him, we were living in Owerri at the time, and they made him the Supreme Court judge, and he had to go to Lagos. I went back to the village. I went to my village to start because I didn't have money. I didn't have nothing at all. And that is where me and Lady D went, to the village where there was no light, there was no water.
Wow.
That was where I started to build the brand Charly Boy. And I stayed in that village for 8 years.
Wow.
It was when I personally experienced poverty. So nobody can tell me about being poor. But you know what? I said to myself, if that my friend in Holy Ghost College at that time, who didn't have a father nor mother, because now the community, they contribute money for him to go school. If that person can make it in life, what is stopping me? I don't need anybody but my confidence and my vigor to make it, you know. So, but of course now, there was this angel, you know, God works in a mysterious way. There was this angel called Tina Onwudiwe. I'm sure a lot of people know that story. You know, she's late now.
Yeah.
Somebody I met in one of my once in a blue moon trip to Lagos from the village. And things got so bad, I couldn't feed my family. My wife and I just had our first baby, a boy. And 3 months after I moved to the village, she had to go back to America. I say, and my sister, just go back to America. If you can work and send some money, fine. If not, let me sort myself. But so she left the baby boy. I was the nanny. I was everything, taking care. Then our son was just about 9 months.
Wow.
He left. Yeah. So I've always been a fighter. I've always, even the rebellion streak started from my home. Why should I stay at the table to eat? Why should I eat with cutleries? Why must I do like Oyibo people? So on and so forth. So no be today. Okay. It started with me challenging my father. No, I won't do this. I rather do this. I won't do that. Your dream for me is not my dream for myself. Please allow me to be, And then, of course, like I said in the beginning, nothing succeeds at success. So when he saw that, oh, this guy, why is everybody calling him? No, be this boy we no one day serious with in life. Why is everybody mentioning his name? Blah, 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 blah. Then, to cut long story short, you know the story now. At the end of the day, he went around, he wanted to let everybody know that he is Charly Boy's father.
Oh, amazing.
And you know,
Um,
both of them died in my house after living with me for like about uh, 12, 14 years.
yeah.
And like I always say, that's the proudest job I held in my life so far. The fact that I was able to take good and great care of my parents who I tortured and hassled when I was a little boy.
Thank goodness for second chances.
Yes.
Zenobia Ridley, she's watching from the US. She says, "What is the president of Nigeria? What is the president of Nigeria end goal?" That is her question. After that, you can also respond really quickly to how did we become that society, from the society you've described to which you were born in and you grew up in for a while? How did we get to that place where we lost our value system, where we began to celebrate mediocrity, where we began to celebrate criminals and gave accolades to criminals and victimized and looked down upon the people, the honest and hardworking people in our society?
I don't know the exact point it started to turn around, but I want to believe that it was after the Civil War. Yeah, that's in the 1970s that a lot of people left their duty post. Parents left their duty post. Children left their duty post. Values and morals was not something to aspire to anymore. Parents did not preach it. Leaders did not preach it. Okay? And then we had like people like Babangida who glorified corruption. And then was military regime. And so on and so forth. That was how we totally lost it. And you know, it is just one little opportunity you need to give a criminal, and they will expand it for you. So when our value system changed, everything started tumbling down. And that explains why we're here, where we are here today.
To Synovia Ridley's question, what is the president of Nigeria's end goal?
Make you go ask them, I mean you go
No,
back.
she's not Nigerian, so she wants.
Person where they do anyhow. He doesn't care about terrorists. There's no insecurity. He's not even addressing. His end goal, of course, is to Islamize Nigeria, and they're going to do it with terror. That is the end goal that I see. I don't know what you see. So it behoves us to know what we want to do. Except we're saying, okay, Nigeria can go to hell. It's already hell. Except we're saying, okay, we don't care if Nigeria does not exist anymore.
Wow. And final question is, how are you that character of Charlie Boy, and yet you are so able, to a great extent, yes, the decency that you encompass. You have a family. You're not one of those celebrities who end up jumping all around town, even though you'd like to make us believe you're that kind of person.
Stop spoiling my name. Stop spoiling Charlie Boy's name.
Talk to these African men who think that that's the way, because some of the problems we encounter in our society is the promiscuity of the mindset of African men, especially Nigerian men. That the disregard they have for the matrimonial, setup. They're so quick to propose to a woman, to marry a woman, to pay the dowry of a woman, but not disciplined or don't have it in their head that they have an obligation to respect that union. And how, just go ahead, because I think they will listen to someone like you who's not a pastor, but is able to keep a decent family. Your
But you
family,
know that pastors' marriage don't even work.
I've met your children, I've met
Many of
your grandchildren, and beside when they're in front of everyone is in front of the TV, I have seen the most disciplined, most respectful, decent human beings in your household. Just share with us really quickly.
Well, it all boils down to where I'm coming from too. You know, I've always seen my parents together. Even when I was younger, when they used to argue about, they argued a lot about so many things that I didn't understand at the time. But after that argument, I used to catch them in the parlor all the time. They're either kissing or dancing or holding hands or doing one thing, you
Mm.
know. And they carried that on till when they were living with me in Abuja.
Wow.
They always argue and they'll always hold hands later and they, you know. So this is what I grew up seeing. And it affected me too.
Mm.
Because before my present marriage, I've been married 3 times. You know, they walk. And I wanted to be like my parents.
Mm.
Okay. I really admired them. I wanted to be like them. So it was just me, I go say, mine is just local. Not that I know it all. That I met somebody who was willing to be my friend. There's nothing that we don't share together.
Mm.
We respect each other's space, but the friendship was more important. And I'm not a regular Nigerian like that
Mm.
because, like you said, okay, why am I looking like this? Part of the other reason I'm looking like this is that I respect my body. I honor my body. My body is like my temple. So I don't feel just to distribute them like tom tom to people because I have an erection. No, I consider that an insult to my person.
Mm.
You understand?
Yeah.
So it has to be because, oh, I found such a beautiful soul. Okay. And yes, I've had more than my fair share of distraction in this world. By right, I'm not supposed to date with my wife, but then again, everything is the same. Oh. I don't, I'm not fooled. Everything is the same. So me and my wife, we decided, okay, we will all die here. I know marriage is bullshit. I know we are just managing, but you're my friend. I'm your friend. Look, we just dey manage each other, sha, till whenever. And that's what we've decided to do. And that's why, we have longevity in our marriage. Plus the fact, Susan, this is very important.
Yeah.
I woke up one day and it's like the newly married couples, they're all looking up at, really it's Mr. Charles Oputa they're looking up to, but they think it's Charlie Boy.
Mm.
So they're all looking up to Charlie Boy, say, if you can do it now, me too, I can do it. So that has put pressure on me not to fuck up because it's like, how Papa will born me, we gave me all this value. And they talked about so much about discipline, honor, and integrity. Can you imagine if I have to compromise my integrity? That will kill me. Same also, can you imagine if all those people who are married, who because of my marriage has tried to keep it together, that would be disappointing. That, and in fact, that was why I went to, after marrying my wife, I've married that same wife 3 times. So
Yeah, I saw the last one was done in Keke Napep.
So when in fact that is what leadership is all about now. You
Yeah.
lead by example. It's not about how you're talking or by example.
Mm.
So, but I have to do all those shenanigans, which has really gotten people confused.
Mm-hmm.
Can you imagine Charlie Boy, not a fan of alcohol, never even did?
Wow.
Can you imagine Charlie Boy not sleeping around all over town? Uh, never into that. And a whole lot of things. But you see, people have been conditioned. As my PR department is
Fantastic.
number one. Yeah, because we've been conditioned to think that. Remember, I said earlier on that because of that overwhelming, big image of my father, I needed to do something quick to carve my own niche.
Yes.
And that something was to just break off and do some weird shit. And that would, because if Charlie Boy no been do like that, when I go forget him, I know you people.
It's true.
You
We
just forget. It's just because did he do that? Did he say that? Why did he do that?
absolutely. And so finally, before you give your final thoughts, I'm just going to take a few reads. African Mystery says, fighting promiscuity is fighting evolution. What does that even mean? And Sinovia Ridley says, do you think the citizens are just as accountable as the president? Of course. And yes, African Mystery, the concept of a loyal monogamous relationship was just set in place by a bunch of men trying to keep women subjugated by so-called constraints of propriety. Wow, that's plenty. And so finally, your final thoughts, your words to us in the diaspora, to us on the continent, and generally speaking.
People should understand. I don't sing I'm for song, and I've said life no balance. The fall of leadership, the fall of leadership is global. You can see what Trump was trying to do to America. Okay? And I can name you a lot of other countries. And how do you think that emboldens the African tyrants? Okay? So it's not just a Nigerian thing, but like citizens all over the world, respected, who stand for truth and justice. We should try very hard, my people, to see how we can, even staying in the diaspora, how we can harness ourselves together and put pressure, because the genocide going on in Nigeria is insane. That's all I can say.
Wow. I just want to say a very big thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It's been such a pleasure. I can't believe it's over an hour already. And
Oh, wow.
just considering you, otherwise we will go on for much longer. A very big thank you. And thank you to your manager here in London who has put this together for us as well, Lady Marlene. Thank you. Shout out to you. And I will catch up with you on the other side, Area Father. Thank you.
What other side is the other side?
The other side where we normally hook up and
Yeah.
for the
At the
plan.
junction. At the junction, Ebute Meta Junction. Yeah.
Yes, we'll see there.
Thank
All right,
you.
take care now. And so, yes, my brothers and sisters, my friends, my family, thank you all so very much for joining in on the conversation today. It was so interesting. Like Charlie Boy area father mentioned when he was growing up, it wasn't just about your parents. It was about the community. It was about the society. You could be just on your own, and the first thing someone says to you is, who is your father? Not because they want to know that your father is a Dangote of today, or an Adenuga, or all the people who are so wealthy, but because they want to know what value system you've been inculcated with, and so in Africa, what they South Africans will call Ubuntu, the spirit of Ubuntu. He mentioned about the boy in secondary school with him who didn't have no parents, but the community came together and contributed money to give to this young man to make sure that he was educated, or he got an education. That is the African spirit. We must not let them take that African spirit, because if we must come out thriving and making it as Africans in the diaspora on the continent of Africa, we must continue to let the spirit, the flame of the Ubuntu spirit burn, which means that you hold my hand and I hold your hand, and together will allow ourselves to grow together, to support ourselves. What the French will say, in French, they say, ensemble nous pouvons, which simply means that together we can. That is the African spirit, regardless whether you're South African, West African, East African, Central African, or diaspora Africa, or African American. We must hold our hands together. We only have ourselves. And on that note, I'm going to say a very big thank you to everyone who joined us. If you haven't liked, followed, or subscribed to our channels, please do so. It is Africa Rise TV on YouTube, Africa Rise TV on Facebook, and Africa_Rise.tv on Instagram. I love you all. Stella Fiberesima. We are living life as if we know it's due to all the value around us growing up. Yes. And so I love you, and I will see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.